All right, just want to make sure I'm live here before I get started. Basically, the goal here for today, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. However, I'm going to try to do this live in hopes of maybe getting some questions at the end. My basic format for today, we're going to be going over some story time stuff, just basic draft stuff, because I just think this industry is such a joke and nobody wants to evaluate the evaluator after the fact. Oh, there we go. So I got the email that we are live. So it looks like we are working. I don't know how I get the questions or how these come up on the screen. It's just me. I'm actually standing up, so I'm going to use my hands, do a bunch of different shit. I just want to make sure, see how it shows up here on my phone before I get started. Plus, I'd like to know if people can hear me all right. And I had no idea how these questions come in or if I get control of this. Most of the time, Garrett handles this shit or Jackson or whatever. But all right, let's get started here. People can hop in whenever they want. People can ask questions. I'm going to leave the questions at the end. So the basic format for today, I'm going to be talking about everything that happened basically behind the scenes at the East-West Shrine game and the Senior Bowl. Hopefully it won't take super long, but I just think this part really needs to be shared. And once again, I guess we have more evidence that Trey changes the world, and silence. And then we're going to be going over something that's very important. And that is, hey, there's a lot of information out there. Who should you trust? I'm going to tell you who you shouldn't fucking trust, because there's a lot of mainstream people in this industry who have no clue. And I mean no clue. And we're going to expose all of them today. And to kind of close the show, we're going to be doing a NFL draft simulator on why you're a fucking asshole if you take Ashingenti in the first round. So that's our breakdown for today. And then we're going to do the questions at the end if I get any. So let's start here. First things first, East-West Shrine game. So this was the first year that Sean Merriman is in charge of the East-West practices. Most of the time, they are not televised. And I first want to start by saying, thank you, Sean Merriman, because most of the time, these are not on TV. And by the way, before I even get into that, this year, we do have the film version. So the next time you see me, I'm probably going to be breaking down some of the stuff that I saw from the film version. We'll probably do some kind of like winners and losers from the East-West game, maybe winners and losers from the Senior Bowl. So that's the next time you see me, I'll be doing that. And I first wanted to say, look, the Vendetta Sports Media NFL draft team, I pride myself on taking this stuff to the next level year after year. I want this to be your one-stop shop, the only place you trust for the NFL draft, because I can guarantee you won't find better. And I'm very confident in that. So this year I will be podcasting more. It's not just going to be the written work, which our written work, it can't be competed with. And if you listen to me in terms of which rookies to draft for fantasy, you're welcome in advance. So I try to take this stuff to the next level every single year. I'm going to be podcasting more this year. And I feel like you guys need to hear my voice on some of this stuff, because there's just so much bad information out there. And we're going to go over it all together so that you know who to trust, who not to trust. Anyway, back to the story. Sean Merriman, first year having the East-West Shrine Bowl practices. And I'm going to be pulling up a bunch of tabs, doing some screen share. It might take me longer than I normally do because I don't have someone just pulling up these tabs and whatnot. So I just want to start here. Because now I don't know if this interview with Sean Merriman is going to happen. Who knows? I don't have any information on that yet. He hasn't gotten, or I should say, he hasn't reached out to me to say, hey, these are times that I can do the interview. So maybe the interview with Sean Merriman will still happen. This is how the interaction first started, though. So let's just share this really quickly. Okay. I found it. All right. So When I found out that Sean Merriman was going to get the TV rights, I basically just tagged him and said, hey, man, you know, I can do write-ups for these games. I can do write-ups for these practices. Our written work has gotten a ton of traction in the past. People read my stuff for the draft. I can bring eyeballs to your event. And he gets back to me and says, hey, shoot me a DM. I'll get you over to the right people. Awesome. Minus the fact that I couldn't DM him. Here it is. I physically could not DM him. No response, which is fine. I'm not taking that personally. I'm not taking that part personally. Like, if he don't want to respond to me, that's fine. Anywho, I just make another quick video after the first day of practice. And I basically go over, hey, man, like, the broadcast is fucking terrible, which I'm going to hit the pause button right there. And then we'll get back to the screen share in a bit. The broadcast for the East-West game, it was Eric Warfield and Mark Clayton, two former NFL players. And what I'm about to say, I want people to first know this. I'm not just being a hater to be a hater. Like, I promise you, I don't just pick on people for the sake of picking on people. Like, that is just not my goal. I don't have any interest in doing that. If I pick on someone, it's for a reason. This broadcast between Eric Warfield and Mark Clayton, it was next level bad. It was next level bad. It sounded like a random podcast that nobody wants to fucking listen to, where the two guys circle jerk each other about what it was like when they were in the league. Like, and I think Tony Soprano has the best line in this. There is no lower form of communication than remember when. And that's all these two guys were doing. Remember when, special teams. Remember when I was doing this. That's not your fucking job. Your job is to tell us what's happening on the field. So I'm going to play the video of what I said back to Sean Merriman, and then we'll pick up story time. But what you should know is how this went. Day one, Eric Clayfield, Eric Warfield, or Mark Clayton, Eric Warfield. Day two, Eric Warfield, Mark Clayton. Then I made this video, and I'm going to show it. All right, so let's get to... All right, so here is what Sean Merriman said to my first video. And we don't need to play the first one because it's kind of more of the same, except I probably executed the second one better. Trey, just seeing this, my bad. We didn't get to the interview, but I'm looking forward to doing one soon. Hope the broadcast is better today. Keep in mind, the broadcast on day one and day two was Eric Warfield and Mark Clayton. This is when he put this post out. I followed back and said this, and I'm just going to play it.
What's up, Sean? Good to hear from you. So I was just kind of going to type all this out, but then I realized that Twitter doesn't allow nearly enough characters to how I really want to express myself. So here's the follow-up video. Let's break this up into two parts. Number one, I would say I wasn't necessarily looking for an interview, although I'll gladly take one, and I'm sure it would be a ton of fun. I'm also a sicko when it comes to this stuff, so I'm sure we would get a ton accomplished in terms of talking about these NFL draft guys. I also know it's a busy week, so Senior Bowl's coming up after this, 2 weeks down the line, 3 weeks down the line. Let's do it. Let's schedule it. I'm sure that would be fun. What I really wanted to accomplish, and we could maybe talk about this after the interview, but I wanted to direct you to our new product.
I'm going to hit the pause button right there because I feel like I forgot to say this part. And for some reason, people that like are trying to like make fun of me for something, I don't really understand their angle on this. So I'm just going to address this so that those people, if those people have this question, I'm just going to refer them back to this video. No, I have not made a That's Some Cheese episode in like a year. I am fully aware of that. The next time I will make a That's Some Cheese episode is when our Vendetta Fantasy Contest platform is fully launched. That should happen in a month or two. The reason why I have not made an episode since then is because that episode is about the company. We've been teasing this product for a while. It's the big thing happening at the company. I don't feel like you need to fucking hear from me every single fucking week, every single fucking month. This is why I haven't made a podcast episode in a while. I don't know why people think that like making fun of me because I haven't put out a podcast means that I'm somehow failing. Like, I don't know how those two things correlate in your mind. But for those people that somehow don't understand, refer them back to this video. This has all been on purpose. I have not made a cheese episode because we are waiting for the product to come out. When the product comes out, the guide episode will be out. That will be part of cheese, and we'll have somebody be on that episode. So, I mean, it happens every single time. The Bears fans, they'll be like, oh, this guy, podcast. If you think podcast is my number one job, you just, whatever. Anyway, just wanted to say that. We are still working on the Vendetta Fantasy Contest platform. We got some good news. We got some executor help with this stuff. So when I have an update on that stuff, you'll hear from me, and cheese will return when it's fully done. Anyway.
Successfully filed for patent, and it's kind of complicated. So long story short, it's essentially a fantasy league of fake gambling. So lights out, sports TV out. I got some fights coming up. Guess what? Now I can have people kind of fake bet on it. I think it's going to be the future of the industry. I think it would make your platform a ton of money. And I'm also not greedy, so take whatever fucking cut you want. I don't really care. But I think it would really work well with your platform. We could talk about that more another time. Number 2, one of my favorite TV shows is Ted Lasso, and I just think it perfectly describes the broad.
I'm going to hit the pause button here one more time because I was trying to make this video as short as I possibly could. There's a scene, I think it's season number 1 or season number 2. Nate is still kind of like starting out his assistant coach role on Ted Lasso. They're about to go to this event. It's like a charity event. And Nate shows up in a suit that's way too fucking big and it doesn't fit at all. And Ted Lasso basically comes up to him and says, hey, man, are you the kind of person that, like, if you have food stuck in your teeth, you want someone to tell you? And Nate's like, oh, yeah, sure. And Ted basically goes to him, that suit doesn't fit at all. We're going to have to make a pit stop. He gets him a new suit. He shows up to the event and looks great.
Podcast. And I'm sure other people feel this way. There's 2 types of people. If I have food stuck in my teeth, person number 1 will tell me. Person number 2 won't say anything because they just don't want the confrontation. I think the world operates in a much better way with person number 1. This broadcast is bad. Like, it's really, really bad. It's a Mark Clayton and Eric Warfield problem, not the camera guy stinks or anything like that. They're just clearly not prepared. I mean, yesterday they're like, I actually think there's 2 Colorado receivers here. Like, they're not prepared at all. They have no clue about any of these guys. There's not, like, go watch it back. There's never one time where they're like, here's Kyle McCord, and he used to go to Ohio State, and now he was at Syracuse, and he ended the season strong at Miami, and here's what I'm seeing during the drills. Never once that. And I'm not saying I should even be the one that does this because I'm not here to pass out cupcakes. If somebody sucks, I'm going to say it. Historically, when you look at this event, 7 to 12 guys matter. And guys like you didn't get invited to this event. You were too good. Your job is to hype up all these guys. So I get it. That's not the problem. They're just clearly not educated. The whole time it's when I was in the league, nobody fucking cares. Your job as part of the broadcast team is to tell us what you're seeing on the field. It's never that. And they're so boring. They're so monotone. It's like they're seriously the worst broadcast team I've ever listened to in any sport. Like, I'm talking hockey, basketball. I watch everything. I watched X Games the other night. They're really bad, like really, really bad. There's never a time where they're like, here's Jackson Woodard, and he was actually a walk-on at Arkansas. They don't talk about the guys on the field at all. I don't even know if they can see what's happening. Like, it's really, really bad. And I just thought you should know, because if I was doing this, I would be embarrassed and I would be looking for somebody else. And by the way, I'm not even saying that I should be the one that does this. You got to get somebody that like knows something on these guys, because they're clearly not informed on the players themselves.
So you might be saying to yourself, Trey, that was very harsh. I disagree. I just disagree. It really needed to be said. It's a goddamn shame that nobody on his staff said anything. And furthermore, if I was like a parent of one of these players, if I was a coach of one of these players, if I was a grandparent, a brother, a sister to one of these players, I would have been fucking pissed. These two jerk-offs are fucking fingering each other in the ass while nobody gets to talk about who's actually on the field doing shit. Like that Eric Warfield and Mark Clayton duo, they were so bad. So bad. And by the way, I would view it as fucking ignorant to the guys on the field. Like, you have players who this is their livelihood. If they perform well at these events, it's life-changing in terms of making them money at the NFL draft. And they don't give a fuck. They would rather talk about themselves. I view them as the bad guys. If I was a coach, a parent, a sister, a grandparent, an uncle to any of the players when this happened, I would be furious. Your job is to hype up all these guys to make them money. And you turn around and you finger each other up the ass because you want to talk about the good old days when you guys were in the fucking league. Can't happen. Sorry, can't happen. So let me get back to the screen share because I think this part is very, very important. And then once again, Trey changed the world and nobody wants to say anything. So this was me responding to Sean Merriman. Peep the date on this, by the way. He said this January 26th at around noon Eastern time. And guess what happened the very next day? Guess what happened the very next day? Zach Wolchuk and Voch Lombardi are now on the broadcast. Magically. Weird how that fucking worked. Isn't that strange how that worked? That after the video of me telling Sean Merriman exactly what was wrong with the broadcast, he found two new people to do it. And by the way, those two did a fantastic job. I reached out to Voch Lombardi for an interview because, look, I got him an extra paycheck. I don't know what they paid him to do this event, but he doesn't have this job without me. So I just thought it was only right for him to maybe do an interview with me. We didn't even necessarily have to talk about the fact that I got him this job, even though I wasn't the one that necessarily hired him, but I set the wheels in motion for this to happen. I can't find Zach's email. So, and I also can't message him. So I tried to, I don't know how to get in contact with him. I'm going to assume, now maybe this is wrong, but I'm going to assume the only reason why this guy did not get back to me is for one reason and one reason only. It's right here. You see this right here? Douchebag works for, I wouldn't say he's necessarily a douchebag. Let me take that back. Douchebag Cowherd, he works for him, which is another story for another day. For those that don't know, Cowherd hired one of my interns away. Didn't even bother to contact me. I mean, no self-pride this fucking Cowherd has. So I wasn't necessarily surprised that Lombardi didn't get back to me. But I will say this. Like, if the roles were reversed, I would say, wow, this dude like really spoke up and got me this opportunity. And I don't know how many people he possibly networked down there, but I would just want to say thank you to that person. And I just feel like that would be the right thing to do. Anyway, let's get back to the screen share. I don't have much more on this. Just want to tell the story. But yeah, the very next day, here it is, right? Here it is. January 26th, Sean Merriman, Trey. And then, the next day, new broadcast team. But by the way, they did a fantastic job. Regardless of if he interviewed with me or not, I would love to talk to this Zach guy because he did a fantastic job. But yeah, I just think it would be the right thing for them to do. But whatever. Yeah, so I don't know if this interview with Sean Merriman will still happen. We'll see. All I know is every organization needs a truth teller in it. That's why all the people that we hire here at Vendetta, I want them to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And all of the people that are, the opposite, we've found a way to get rid of. So I just think every building needs a truth teller. And I'm happy that I could help Sean Merriman out. I think the more disturbing part is his staff. Like, did he really need me to tell him that the fucking first broadcast team was awful? I guess so. And then, we already know what happened. He probably showed that video to some of the people on his staff. And then the same people that told him they weren't a problem, they said, you know what? I can't even hide this anymore. We have to make a change. So anywho, I'll let you know if that Sean Merriman interview happens. It should just be pointed out that I changed the broadcast, and it'll be another thing that Trey doesn't get credit for. So next thing on the list. I'm glad that only took 20 minutes. So next thing on the list, I just think it's very, very important for people to evaluate the evaluator. It's very, very important that during this NFL draft season, there's going to be a lot of fake nonsense out there. There's going to be a lot of shit from teams where they pump all these media people for information. They tell them lies. They tell them nonsense. It's important for you, the viewer, to understand who you should trust and who you cannot trust. And that's going to be my purpose today. There's a lot of people in the mainstream NFL draft media. You should not trust any of them. You just shouldn't. So we're going to go over that today. And I just think this is very, very important because there's going to be a lot of lies told here in the coming days. You should just be prepared for all of them to come. So let's start here. Daniel Jeremiah. He sucks. Sorry, but he just does. If you think this guy knows NFL draft stuff, you're fooling yourself. Like if you take this guy's opinion seriously, you are only injuring yourself in terms of being educated on these prospects. I'm going to tell you why. When people tell you who they are, believe them. His one job is to cover the NFL draft. Trey's job is to run this site, handle the payroll, handle the staff, handle the interviews, handle the internship process, talk to the colleges, do the NFL draft stuff, cover NFL football, cover college football, cover NHL, cover NBA, help UFC, do fantasy hockey, do fantasy basketball, do fantasy football, do MLB. I have about 15 jobs at this site. His only job is to cover the NFL draft. His only job is to cover the NFL draft. As part of your fucking job, you have to watch college football. If you do not watch college football, you will never understand what's actually happening. Because the secret to all of these mainstream people, they are paid actors. And the only thing that they say is what somebody else tells them. They don't have real opinions. Pat McAfee is begging this guy. He's saying, I love Will Howard. Tell me why I'm wrong. Let's play the video.
Let's talk about the quarterbacks now, because obviously there's a lot of quarterback needy teams. Shador, Cam Ward, the only guys being talked about. Is that because their talent, their skill, and why? Okay, you know what's coming. Why are you draft pundits leaving Will Howard out of the conversation of being a first-round guy? It's because he has talent around him? Okay, that's his fault that he has talent around him? Somebody has to, on 3rd and 11, somebody has to get the call, know that he's going to throw a deep shot, go out there, put his thing on the table, and drop one into it. Even if Jeremiah's open, you still got to spin that thing and drop a 30-yard ball to win the national championship, which he did time and time and time again. What am I missing from you draft pundits? Why is he ranked so damn low? 4th round, people got him as 4th rounder, 6'4", 240. What are you guys doing? What do I not see, DJ?
Before he starts, let me say this, Pat McAfee. I'm going to explain that after the video, but here's Daniel Jeremiah's response. He's begging Daniel Jeremiah to give him something on Will Howard. Tell me why I'm being unreasonable about Will Howard. That's what McAfee is saying. Here's Jeremiah's response.
Yeah, in this entire thing.
First of all, dude, you're like the teacher that calls me to tell me I failed the test that I haven't even turned in yet.
Yeah, I want to let you know. I already know.
I haven't even posted anything. It comes out next week. Well, top 50, mock draft, all that stuff. But
right.
here's the Will Howard discussion. He went on an epic run, and I'm excited to get a chance to go through all the all-22 stuff in these playoff games because he played great, and I'm excited to get a chance to dig in on that. The games I'd watched earlier, I'll just tell you, I got my notes in front of me. It was Oregon, Penn State, Nebraska.
This part is hilarious. Just wait.
The first Oregon game. So the first Oregon game made some nice throws. He had a couple that got away from him down the field. On the whole, I thought he played well. But then at the end of the game, you know how it ends. He takes off, kind of a little bit of a brain cramp, and slides, and it goes zeros, and they lose the game. Next game I watch is Penn State. Again, there's a lot of good to take from that in terms of throwing on balance, some up and down throws over linebackers under safeties. But the first play of the game predetermines pick six. He's running in the end zone, fumbles out of the back of the end zone.
Okay.
Then I go to Nebraska. So I've just watched 3 games early in the process, and coach knows, you start with 3 or 4 of these games, and then you get a chance to circle back and watch some more as we go. And Nebraska was the last one. He had a sack fumble and a ball took off on him for a pick in that game. So the size, he's 6'0", 3'7", so he's just at 6'4", 240 pounds, as you mentioned. He can move around. He can make all the different throws, and he got on an epic heater at the most important time. And I'm excited to dig into those. Pat, he's right on the borderline of a top 50 pick for me at this point in time. But I'm telling you that because I haven't had a chance to watch this playoff.
Okay, so
Timeout. You haven't had a chance to watch the playoff. What the fuck were you doing this entire time? Explain that to me. You haven't had a chance to watch the playoff. What do you do? Your job is to know these players and you don't watch the playoff? It's the pinnacle of the sport. He's begging you. Tell me why I'm wrong about Will Howard. And he goes down a Wikipedia page and looks at his sheet and says, well, in this snap, he had a bad slide that cost them the Oregon game. And he did this, and he did this. Wrong, so bad. There are 4 types of scouts. 4 types of scouts. The projection scout is the only scout that matters. Tell me what his arm looks like. Tell me how fast he is. Tell me what it looks like when he's under pressure. He's not doing any of those things. He's giving you a Wikipedia page. Oh, in the Nebraska game, there was a throw pick. In the Penn State game, he completed a bunch of ball. He's looking at his sheet and jotting down completion, not completion, completion, not completion, which is the same fucking thing he did at the scouting combine with Anthony Richardson when he showed you his fucking notes about Anthony Richardson. And it was a box score. It was literally a box score. He's begging you. Tell me why I'm wrong about Will Howard. And your response is, I haven't had a chance to watch it. What do you do? Why are you valuable? Nobody knows why you get a fucking check. It's embarrassing. If I was on the NFL Network staff and he was my fucking analyst, I would choke him. No, you are not going to be on the fucking combine broadcast with me. You don't even watch the fucking games? Disgusting. Absolutely fucking embarrassing. Absolutely fucking embarrassing this clown is. You didn't watch the playoff? You didn't have time to watch the playoff. What do you do? Explain it to me. What exactly do you bring to the table, Daniel Jeremiah? What do you bring to the table? Let's go back to last year. By the way, I didn't even plan on sharing this, but since we're here, it's obvious when people tell you who they are, believe them. He don't watch. Just watch this.
Hey, Charles. Yes, sir. The estimate running 4.72. Did you see that coming?
Oh, we all saw it coming, except you don't watch the games.
No, that was a major surprise to me because I thought we'd be high 4.5s, low 4.6s.
He's horrible. Absolutely fucking horrible. Explain to me why anybody fucking takes this Daniel Jeremiah seriously when he didn't even watch the playoff. It's his only job. His only fucking job is to watch the fucking games. He don't do it. Okay, awesome. Yeah, you guys can fucking act like this guy knows what he's doing. It's totally embarrassing. Totally embarrassing. Let's go to McFraud, by the way, Todd McShay, who is just awful. You can't possibly act like this guy knows what he's talking about. Do people actually respect Todd McShay? Todd McFraud? We're going to refer to him as Todd McFraud. No clue. No clue. By the way, let's just go back. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl right now because they took a bunch of Georgia guys, including Jalen Carter. And let's not forget. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I want the video. I want the video. Shit. That's not what I wanted. I want the video of him. Where's that video? Where is the video? I know there's that video. Let's just Google it. Todd McShay, Jalen Carter video. It's got to be here somewhere. Maybe it's in here. Oh, well, I mean, the quotes are here, whatever. I guess we'll pull up the video maybe next time. Here's basically what he said about Jalen Carter before the draft. And then Jalen Carter's draft stock tanked after this for no fucking reason. Character issues. Does he get along with everybody? What's his deal in the locker room? All fucking nonsense. All fucking nonsense. My question to you, the viewer. After McFraud said all this about Jalen Carter, and then Jalen Carter turned into basically the best player in the draft, which we all said that was going to happen. Why would you ever listen to him again? Like, I just want to know. After what McFraud said about Jalen Carter before the draft, where he fell 5-10 slots for no fucking reason, why would you ever listen to McFraud again? But this is the problem. This is the epitome of why these NFL draft analysts are bad. They don't have a real opinion. What they're told from teams is how they operate. And then it affects the rest of the draft. He got conned. Jalen Carter, okay, he's a little bit of a knucklehead. Every defensive line coach in America knows you have to be a lion tamer. You have to turn those fucking lions and unleash them properly, which is what Fangio has done this year. Bad. And let's just go over a couple more things when it comes to McShay, because I just don't know how anybody could ever take that fucking guy seriously. I don't get it. He should have been canceled as soon as that Jalen Carter thing happened by everybody. But buddy Bill Simmons, I guess, picked him up. I don't know. I'm gonna share two more things. We'll keep this moving, I promise. The main portion of this episode will be worth it. I just think it's very, very important for you, the viewer, to know there's just certain people you should not trust. He called Ryan Finley a first rounder once upon a time. Let's not forget that. Ryan Finley was a nothing. Here you go.
Ryan Finley, to me, he's a pro-style quarterback who's efficient. And he's not great in terms of his physical tools. He's got enough arm strength. He's intelligent. He's played well in clutch situations, has a lot of the toughness that you look for. And he throws with anticipation and gets the ball out on time. Now, listen, Drew Lock from Missouri is getting a lot of love, and I see the big arm. Reminds me a little bit of I don't want to say poor man's, but he's not quite to Patrick Mahomes' level yet. But he's got some of those skills. Sure. Justin Herbert from Oregon he's big arm. He can move around and really mobile for his size. So there are some other players that could start to creep up, but to me right now, Finley is probably the most pro-ready quarterback in college football.
Can't possibly watch college football and thought Ryan Finley was a first-round pick. You couldn't possibly think that. You couldn't possibly think that. I'm gonna show you this right here. Here's my Ryan Finley. And we go on a bunch of rant about how this is fucking nonsense. Like, totally nonsense. I actually don't know what the fuck that is. What is that? I'm going to have to look at that later. I don't even know how that got there. Anyway, Ryan Finley sucks. Let's see the date on that. That's 2018. Yeah. And Ryan Finley turned into nothing. So... yeah, we're going to have to edit this post. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. What is that? Can I get rid of this? Yeah, okay. There we go. All right, I got rid of that shit. I don't know what the fuck that was. Anyway, one more thing on McFraud. So the politics are starting already, and I wanted to do this now because it's very, very important for you people to understand that this is the lying season. Lying season is coming up. We've all watched these players. We all have an idea of who they are. Now the draft politics are coming. And I think it's very, very important for you to understand the draft politics are coming. Here's McFraud's post. Here's McFraud's post on Jackson Dart. I see Jackson Dart as a 6th or 7th round pick. I know Chickster and Garrett just did their quarterback rankings the other day. He's not going to be very high for me. He's not going to be in the top 5 for me. But the lies are coming. Here we go. One nuance I've seen from Jackson Dart on tape this year, which this is at the Senior Bowl. You can pretend that you watch all of this tape and do all of these things. Everybody has access to this. So to act like you're like ahead of the curve on this, whatever. Here to Jack Besh. Recognition of defenders with their back turned to the ball. Typical man coverage. He's been extremely comfortable placing throws like this, putting his target in great shape to make a play on the ball. I remember watching this play. This happened during the Senior Bowl game. This play was a flea flicker. This was not a drop back throw. This was toss to the running back, get the ball back, throw. This was a flea flicker. So, yeah, there might be a defender who isn't really allowed to play defense. You're only allowed to play certain coverages in these All-Star games. You're not allowed to mix things up. You're not even allowed to blitz. For you to say he's done a great job with defenders turned to their back on a trick flea flicker, pretty ignorant. But let's get to the throw itself. Here's the flea flicker. Oh, yeah, no. Here we go. Why do you think his back was turned? Because he thinks it's a run. You didn't even mention that at all. You see this? You see this right here? Flea flicker. Now, the throw is horrible. The throw's horrible. He's wide open. This ball's got to come over here. But he don't got enough juice to fucking make this throw. He's got to come back to it. This shouldn't. His back's turned. Look at the defender is totally fooled. Look at this. He don't know what's coming. Look at it's a trick play. Here comes the ball back from Etienne. This ball's going to come over here. It's totally underthrown. This ball's got to be over here. He would have been wide open. Now, Besh made a great play. Besh comes back to the ball, defender in his face, makes the catch. But there's a lot of receivers that don't make this play. Great play by Besh, but there's a lot of receivers that don't make this play. How are you blowing the quarterback here? And look at the comments. I mean, look at great. Look at this comment right here. This is a bad throw in my eyes. If Beck, that'd be correct. I mean, correct. I mean, this should have been an easy walk in the park touchdown. The smart people who are commenting on this, it was a bad throw. It was not a good throw. Horrible throw. Let's watch it one more time. Placing throws like this. This should have been an easy touchdown. Look at him again. He's coming up for the run. This ball's got to be over here. It's underthrown. He comes back to it, makes a great catch. That's not a good throw. Now, stay with me. The very next day, he goes on Ryan Russillo's podcast. And look at the lies in the politics. Shadur Sanders or Jackson Dart is QB2 with McShay's face on it. Lies, politics and lies. You sat there and broke down a horrible throw, gave him credit for it, and then said he might be the quarterback too, based on one throw on a flea flicker trick play that wasn't even a good throw. But this is the person you guys take seriously. Explain it to me. I'm waiting for you guys to finally wise up. You guys can't be this stupid. You guys can't fall for this big of fucking nonsense. I refuse to believe you guys are this stupid. Evaluate the evaluator. He's telling you how dumb he is. Why won't you people react properly? I just gotta know. I got two more for you, and then we're gonna get to our main segment here. And I'm sorry this is taking long, but this is the perfect time to go over all this stuff, because what you people need to understand is there's going to be a lot of people on TV, and these things, they crawl like a fucking disease. They get into you, and you start thinking things that aren't true. You start looking for ghosts that are never even there, all based on lies. That throw was horrible by Jackson Dart, and now he's the quarterback too because of a bad throw. I don't have an answer for you. And I promise I'll make these next two very, very quickly. But no man can cross their legs like this. I'm sorry. This Mike Reary, fruitcake Mike Reary. Nobody can cross their legs like this if you're a guy. I'm sorry. I can't do this. And it's one thing to maybe be like this. I physically can't do this. I refuse to believe that a man with actual nuts can cross their legs like Mike Reary. And by the way, it's one thing to be a fruitcake. It's another thing to be fucking totally uneducated. This guy's a clown. Emory Jones never got drafted. Here he is in his mock draft, number 6 overall. Spencer Rattler's going first. Sam Howell's going here to the 2nd overall to the Lions. Yeah, bad. Yikes. I don't know what the fuck this is. Awful. There you go. Yep. I just don't know why you people keep falling for it. I don't know why people keep falling for it. And I'm going to show you, by the way, Mike Renner. What was that draft? Was it 2018? Was it 2018? It might have been 2018. What year did Jefferson come out? I might be wrong about that year. Come on, Google. How are you this incompetent? What draft was this? 2020. Sorry. 2020 PFF NFL draft wide receiver rankings. I'm going to show you this. Here you go. Yep, here we go. I think this is the article. Yep, here we go. Posted by Mike Reary. And by the way, hold on. Here's Jalen Reagor. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 8. Trey would never do something like this. Look, it's one thing for people to make mistakes. It's another thing to make asinine mistakes that don't make a lick of sense. By the way, Pro Football Focus, you fucking douchebags, made fun of Philadelphia for years for taking Jalen Reagor ahead of Justin Jefferson, and your fucking lead draft analyst did it. By the way, not just by one spot, by several spots. But you fucking assholes, PFF makes fun of Eagles, Justin Jefferson. You clowns acted like this never happened, though. You clowns acted like this never happened. Look at PFF. Never forget Vikings laughing at Eagles for skipping on Justin Jefferson. This is from PFF. Well, your own website, written by Mike Reary, made the exact same mistake. But why doesn't anybody fucking blame them? Why are we blaming the Eagles? But nobody wants to evaluate the evaluator in terms of, hey, maybe these PFF guys, maybe this fucking Mike Reary isn't that smart. Nobody wants to say those things, though. Why is that the case? Don't know. Clown show. And, last but not least, let's get to this fucking douchebag, Connor Rogers, who I'm going to tell you, it's the same theme. It's the same theme in terms of, hey, people tell you what you need to hear. Those guys never get rewarded. People tell you that what you want to hear. They get job promotions left and right, which is what this Connor Rogers person is. Let's play the clip from the Matthew Berry challenge, which, by the way, my lifetime record against Matthew Berry is 23-4. Nobody will say a word for it. Matthew Berry will continue to collect checks. Don't know why. I pummeled him 2 years in a row now. Anyway, Connor Rogers was hired because Matthew Berry does not watch college football. Matthew Berry is about to say the dumbest thing possible on TV. I want you to focus specifically on what Connor Rogers says. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I like it. No. Sorry, but no. Your job is to tell him you don't like it because it's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. What are you there for, Connor Rogers? Other than to suck his cock, what are you there for? You are hired to prevent him from saying stupid shit like this. What is your role if you can't do that? Explain it to me. Explain it to me. You were hired to educate him on the NFL draft. If that fucking jackass ever uttered the word, Ben Sinnott's going to outscore Brock Bowers, I would have said no. But he don't have the balls to do that, which is why he got that job. That's how this industry works. People tell you what you need to hear, silence, which is why Sean Merriman hasn't gotten back to me. People tell you what you want to hear, get promotions left and right. Get promotions left and right. By the way, we've gone too long on this. He did it again when Matthew Berry doubled down on it. He said, in fairness to Matthew, fucking cocksucker. By the way, here's a perfect example of this. The entire Boston sports media scene is furious that they took Jalen Polk instead of Vlad McConkey. You can go and Google this all you want. NBC Sports Boston, Nesson, Boston.com. The entire landscape for Boston sports media is furious that they took Jalen Polk instead of Vlad McConkey. And this Connor Rogers, all he does, he sticks Jalen Polk's cock in his mouth so far. He wants to pass out cupcakes, and he wants to tell you how unbelievable this Jalen Polk is. And I'm not going to play this video. It's right here. If you want to go watch it on your own, you can do that. Trey doesn't need hindsight bias. Trey told you that Ladd McConkey was going to be a stud and Jalen Polk was the third best receiver on his own Washington team. So why are we pretending to take this guy in the second round? I don't really know. But that's Connor Rogers for you. He's going to tell you what you want to hear. Not what you need to hear. Not the truth. He's not interested in the truth. He's interested in coming up with the lies and the politics so that he can get another paycheck. Here he is. Audric Estime is going to light the world on fire.
I have drastically changed my opinion of this guy since our running back show, Audric Estime.
He's good.
He's just good.
He's good. I think people are kind of trying to make him something he's not. If at first it's like, oh, Audric Estime is underrated. It's like, now, I got Audric Estime, RB1. I'd have him above Bijan Robinson last year. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'd trade up to 28 for him.
Right. The Patriots have no choice but to take him at 3.
They can't trade the pick. The Patriots pass up 3-1s from
What are we
Denver
doing
and
here?
take Audric Estime.
Marvin Harris Jr. sitting in the green room, just every camera in the place is staring at him.
His dad's on the phone. He's on the phone. How did this happen?
Estimates like a top golf or something. He didn't even think he's getting.
These guys, they went back and forth for months, jerking each other off about how Audric Estime is going to light the world on fire. And in the playoff game against Buffalo, he was inactive for Tyler Beatty, who didn't get drafted. Wonderful. Way to go, guys. You guys are really educating the public. Give this douchebag, Connor Rogers, an extra round of applause for being a cunt. I'm sure him and Brad Stevens get along just fine. Anyway, I'm done with all that. I just want you, the viewer, to understand. You have to be very, very careful about who you're trusting. By the way, who's to say you trust me? I'm not even necessarily saying you got to trust me. All I'm saying is there's so many people who are horrible at this that really don't know what they're talking about. And nobody ever goes back and, hey, what did they say about player X? Hey, what did they say about player Y? Hey, that's weird. I remember him saying X, Y, and Z, and that didn't happen at all. Which, again, I'll say this, I would love nothing more than to stack up my notes against everybody else, but I know nobody wants to do that because they're more interested in passing out cupcakes than actually getting the information correct. We're going to end with one more segment here. I didn't get any questions, I don't think. Maybe I got questions and I just don't know how to do this. So we're going to do one more segment. And I'm just going to pick, let's see here. Does anybody got a pick for me here? The last segment that we're going to close with here today. You are uneducated beyond belief if you believe that your favorite team should take Ashton Genty. If your general manager takes Ashton Genty, they should be pinned to the cross and burned alive. That would be one of the biggest mistakes any team in this draft can make. I've seen mock drafts with Genty going at 3. I've seen him. I can't find a draft where he goes below Dallas. Like if he makes it to Dallas in the mock draft, they always give him the Dallas. So what I want to do here today, and maybe he'll go higher, maybe he'll go lower. We'll see. What I want to do here today and hopefully accomplish is educate you on why nobody can possibly believe that Ashton Genty should go at the top of the draft. And if you do, your opinion will change after this video. So we're just going to pick the Bears because Ryan Poles is a dog shit GM. Let's just do 3 rounds. We're not going to do all 3 rounds. I just want to kind of go through this together and explain to you why under no circumstance should Genty be picked this high. So, okay, here we go. I don't know if he'll make it. Here we go. Here we go. He goes 6 to the Raiders. Crazy. Insane. But so I wanted to do this twice. Hopefully we can just do this now. Maybe I'll just pick the Raiders next time. Yeah, why don't I do that? I'll restart it. I'll pick the Raiders next time. So you see right here, he goes pick 6 to the Raiders. I'm going to show you what your draft looks like if you pick Ashton Genty and what your draft looks like if you simply take Travion Henderson instead. Which, by the way, I'm probably going to have Travion Henderson higher. That's a conversation for another day. But what you really need to understand if you are the viewer, if I pick somebody in the top 10, he has to blow my dick off. There's no room for interpretation on this. If I pick somebody in the top 10, he has to be a Hall of Fame player. If he's not a Hall of Fame player, I made a criminal mistake because I can get the same guy at 45, which is why the Drake London pick is so ass. But you people still don't understand that. If I pick somebody in the top 10, He has to be a Hall of Fame worthy player. And by the way, let's just go up and down the list of small school running backs. The last one who really hit, who I loved, was Chris Johnson. He was picked in the 20s. It's one thing to pick a running back in the 20s. It's another thing to pick a running back in the top 10. There's been next to no success on picking running backs in the top 10. And if you want to say, oh, Barkley was a good pick, Barkley was a horrible pick. Because what did the Giants really get out of it? They didn't have a good team. You have to have a good team if you want to do this. So let's now go to the Raiders. He went to the pick 6 the last time we used it, right? Okay. Perfect simulation. Perfect simulation. Perfect simulation. So here goes Ward, Shadur, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. All guys the Raiders would probably just turn the card on and just, if Travis Hunter's there, they'll probably just turn the card in, right? I'm going to turn Ashton Jeanty into about 6 guys. And I didn't like that trade offer, so let's just redo that one really quickly. 3 rounds. I think that trade offer was not good. Okay, well, in this one, Shadur drops to us, right? We probably just take Shadur. I'm going to just pretend that Shadur is off the board. Just bear with me. Shadur is off the board. First simulation, turn the card in for Jeanty. Second simulation, I'm going to show you what happens if I just simply take Travion Henderson instead. So we're going to take this Saints offer. If we can throw in something, I'm going to try to go through this fast. Can I throw in an extra third next year? Sure. Okay. I'm just getting greedy at this point. How about pick 111 too? No, you don't like that. All right. How about pick 186? Sure. All right. So we moved down a couple spots. I was just pretending Shadur was off the board. The Raiders will probably just take him, right? Now I'm going through this again. Let's just take this right here. Seattle, pick 18, 50, and 82. Sure. Thanks. Why not? And then there goes Jeanty again, which this is all we need to show. This is all we need to show. Minnesota here coming up. These aren't terrible. Next year's Minnesota, 2nd and a 3rd. Can you make it 97 instead? Great. Wonderful. Okay. And now Mason Graham has made it here. So why don't we just turn the card in here for Mason Graham, right? We'll turn the card in here for Mason Graham because having him next to Christian Wilkins seems like a fucking really good idea. And now I have picks here. Here we go. We'll just turn the card in there, right? And we're going to make sure we guarantee ourselves Travion Henderson. We're going to make sure we guarantee ourselves Travion Henderson. All right, so we'll do that much. No, we're just going to turn. I could take Walter. No, that's something. Where is he? Oh, he's 67. So maybe we don't even have to do that. You know what? We'll take Walter Nolan here too. We'll get 2 defensive tackles. And that's awful. What are my other picks? I pick a 52. Okay. So why don't we take JT Tuimoloau? These are extra picks that we collected via trade down, right? And now we'll just end it here. Do I have another pick here coming up? Hold on. I'll also have, right. So I also have 68, 73, 82, 97, all, and then an extra Minnesota 2, all for kind of moving down. And let's just end it right here. Here's Henderson. Now let's pause it. I've turned Jeanty into Mason Graham, JT Tuimoloau, Travion Henderson, pick 82, pick 97, and the next year's 2nd. And by the way, I maybe could have gotten Henderson later. So I turned Jeanty. Just Jeanty. I turned just Jeanty into Mason Graham, and this was the Raiders' 2nd rounder. So I turned Jeanty into Mason Graham, JT Tuimoloau, Travion Henderson, 2 more third-round picks, and the next year's Minnesota 2. Don't sit here and tell me, ooh, we have to have Ashton Ginty because he rushed for a bunch of yards in the Mountain West. You can't do that. If any general manager that does that, they should be burned alive. I turned Ginty, one Ginty pick, into Mason Graham, Tuimoloau, Travion Henderson, 2 more third-round picks, and then the next year's Minnesota 2. You tell me why anybody should take Ginty that high. You can't do that. And the only way you get your bang for your buck on Ginty is if he literally goes to the Hall of Fame. Then you can argue, we got our money's worth. We didn't get exceedingly great value, but we got our money's worth. I couldn't sleep at night doing that. I couldn't sleep at night doing that. You mean to tell me my range of outcomes here, and we live by the world of the Chinese farmer, maybe. At the end of the day, we're all fucking stupid humans that don't know anything. But if we really use our brains, we can come to the right answer. You mean to tell me that your range of outcome here is I turn the card in here for Ashton Ginty, and I hope and I pray that he's a Hall of Famer. Or I turn Ginty into 6 other players and still get Henderson. No. I'm sorry, but under no circumstance does any smart person pick option 1. No. Sorry. And again, name me the running back picked in the top 10. Name it. Who you could say, you know what? That was a great pick. I can name maybe one, Adrian Peterson. The Vikings, 100%, they got their money worth, and they almost won a championship. And if they just did a couple more things around the edges to be right, they probably could have won a Super Bowl. And that Brett Favre team super close to winning it all. You can argue Adrian Peterson, Vikings got their money's worth. Beyond that, you can't name one. Again, for Ginty to be worth a top 10 pick, he has to go to the Hall of Fame. Otherwise, I've turned him into fucking 6 other guys and still got Henderson. And by the way, again, we live in the Chinese farmer. Maybe Genty's better than Henderson. I don't believe that, but maybe you do believe that. What's the gap? Explain to me what the gap is, because I don't see one. And by the way, the recruiters at a high school say Henderson's the better player. The college teams themselves, Ohio State wanted Henderson. If Ohio State wanted Ginty, he would be on their team. So the high school recruiters, Henderson's the better player. The college, scouts and whatnot, Henderson's the better player. So he rushes for a bunch of yards in the Mountain West against nobodies. Fumbles twice against Penn State. He looked fine against Penn State, but he didn't look like a Hall of Famer against Penn State. Those 2 bad fumbles were hard. 3.3 yards per carry. And I know that Penn State's front is better than Boise State, but if you're a Hall of Fame back, you have a better showing than that. You just do. I'm asking you again. A, what is the gap between Ginty and Henderson? And B, if there is a gap, is it worth not having 6 extra guys? You can't tell me. You can't. You can't possibly pretend that Ginty's the right call. I'm getting a phone call, so I'll be right back. I got to answer this. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Had to take that phone call. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here today. I don't think I got any questions. If I did somehow get questions, I just don't know how to work the chat somehow. So maybe I got questions, maybe I didn't. Maybe I'll have somebody help me out with this in the future. But again, just to recap that, under no circumstance can you turn the card in for Ashton Genty and feel proud of yourself if you're actually educated on how this stuff works. So we're gonna end it here. I'll see you maybe every Saturday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But till next time. And I promise the next time I come on, I won't go on a fucking rant about how everybody else is terrible at this. It really needed to be said because this is lying season. Lying season's coming up. Just be very careful of it. So, all right. Peace out, Girl Scout.